everybody. Ready to hear about the home automation of the future? Chet is the pioneer here, and after selling 100 million routers and all sorts of charging cables and charging cases for iPhones, Chet took a detour in his third or fourth decade at Belkin and started going into home automation. Could you talk about that transformation and how you, what you saw as the opportunity?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that has made our group of people special, generally speaking, is we've always encouraged them and gave them a lot of resources to keep reinventing things for themselves and for us. And just as we were coming upon what we now know to be as Wemo, we could very clearly see a very special moment in time was developing once again, where there was a lot of yearning by people in their homes to be able to have much simpler ways for fantastic experiences to unlock for them in their homes. And by applying a little bit of tech to a little bit of hardware, we could be a part of something extraordinarily special for folks. So having a lot of fun with Wemo.
Okay, well let's paint a picture for folks. You have a test home in Redondo Beach, California. I've been there. We can open a garage door with a phone. We can make a cup of coffee before we're even out of bed, right? We could turn lights on and off. We could turn on air conditioners. We can put a pot roast on and monitor it from work. Those are some of the highlights. This was an area that you saw as something worth exploring. How did you get into it? What you had the idea. What was the inspiration for that idea? What happened in the smartphone revolution that you said, I want people to open up the doors from their phones?
Yeah, I think it was a culmination of a bunch of things. It was the experiences that we were having. I found myself outside of my house trying to get into my garage, and there was no easy way for me to do that. I had to get in the car and push a button, or I had to get into my house to push a button. It would be raining outside, and my irrigation system would have been on its previous timer, and I would know that it was sprinkling while it was raining, and that would just drive me absolutely nuts. And in parallel to this, we were working on a unified messaging platform, and we started to think, hey, if we take this tech that we're developing in the cloud and eventually as an app, and started to apply this to things, we could start to allow people to have infinite control over the experiences that they want to have at life and inside of their home. And beyond that, we could actually start to have all these experiences learn from one another, so that my garage can close automatically when I leave, or the internet knows, of course, when it's likely to rain in my zip code, and it can take care of my irrigation system for me without me even thinking about it.
Okay, so now you've got Wemo, and Wemo stands for?
Wemo was a name that we came up with. It doesn't really stand for anything, and we hope that it helps to inspire people about the we and being able to Wemo absolutely anything in our lives.
How has this experience transformed the company? Because you were best known for routers and iPhone cases and charging cables before.
Yeah, so I think the entire journey for us has always been a really exciting one, because as we reinvent ourselves every few years, typically the latest innovations developed by the team are some of the greatest ones in that moment. And we've been through this whole revolution with PCs, the whole revolution with them, the internet. This smart home, connected home, and entire Internet of Things is going to be much, much bigger than anything that any of us have experienced to date. So we're just having a lot of fun, and frankly, the team gets a lot of validation and reward seeing their early thinking. They've been at this for 5 or 6 years now, long before most have begun to work in this space, and it's great to get that reward and that validation that they really picked a huge winner early again.
Okay, so what percentage of the business right now is Wemo?
So Wemo's at least a third of the total brand excitement for us. 100% of the excitement around Wemo. Still a tiny portion of the revenues compared to Linksys or Belkin, but there's no doubt in our mind that really big things ahead for Wemo.
So where do we go from here? What's our lives going to be like 2 or 3 years down the road with home automation and apps and connected products?
Well, the beauty with Wemo is we feel that any of us, all of us, can Wemo absolutely anything. You rattled off a lot of the great use cases that we are bringing to life in our test houses day in and day out. But of course, many of us are having these experiences every day. So there are literally trillions of sensors that are out there in the world, capable of telling us all kinds of things that are taking place. No easy way to onboard all of those sensors until the Wemo platform has been built. There are trillions of things that run off of either a higher voltage and AC switch or off of a low voltage switch. So anything that is powered and gets turned on or turned off can now be easily onboarded onto the smart home, connected home via Wemo. So we haven't really thought of anything yet that we can't Wemo.
Okay, but for right now, you have garage doors, you have lights, you have appliances, kitchen appliances. What products are we going to see in 2 years from now? What's the holy grail?
Yeah, so the first thing is we're simple plugs or switches allowing you to plug in and onboard anything. Lighting is overwhelmingly huge now. We have not just our Wemo lights, but Osram, Sylvania. Their lights are a big part of the Wemo platform. TCP, who makes a lot of private label bulbs for folks, is an integral part of the Wemo platform. And just today, we announced and Cree announced that Cree is bringing their first lights on to the Wemo
and just
platform.
So people understand, you buy the light bulb, you plug it into the socket, you have the app, you turn it on.
Yeah.
You turn it on, you turn it off, and you dim it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So a really huge key for Wemo is that it's an easy thing to approach for partners and a very easy thing to approach for users. So
okay, so right now we have a lot of lights and we have kitchen appliances. What's coming? This is a crystal ball session.
Yeah, so
whether it come from you or whether you think we're going to be seeing it.
Yeah, so we're huge believers in and respecters of the limited resources that are in our world. So if we think about electricity and the natural resources that go into making that Wemo power, the ability to see what the power usage is anywhere inside of our home from either multiple points or a single point, and then being able to manage the power in our home is going to be a huge one for the future. Another really big one, and it's a big item certainly for us here in Vegas, it's a big item in California and many places around the world, is water. We all recognize what a precious resource that is. And with Wemo Water, from one point of contact in your plumbing system in your home, this pressure sensor will emit a signature into the Wemo system based on what used water, if that was your sink or your garden or your shower. And Wemo will be able to tell you when various areas of your household plumbing were turned on and turned off and used, how much water that the whole house used, and an itemized listing of how much water was used every single place throughout the home.
And that's actually a new product that you're coming out with this any time now, right? The water one?
Yeah, so it's in pilots now. Wemo powers in multiple pilots. Wemo Water is 2, and we are hoping that it'll be brought and be available to all of us in the not too distant future.
All right. Do you foresee a time that you want to work with the construction industry and have them be installing Wemo sockets in houses from scratch? So is that an area you want to explore?
Yeah, so we benefit from having had a lot of experience selling things for many, many years, but for us that's almost always been either in brick and mortar or online channels, so that's a whole new area for us. It was definitely on our list of things to get to. What it is we have found immediately was a lot of inbound around that space, so we have started to engage there right away. It's also a different feedback loop that comes out of that home builder channel, so we've been asked to extend some of those Wemo experiences to door sensors, window sensors, actual hardwired outlets that the builders would put in your home from the get-go so that you didn't have to add a add-on item, and we expect that area in home building to also explode.
Okay, now one product that is for the home, I'm guessing every person in this audience has one. In fact, I know they do. It's a router, right? Who doesn't have a router? Did I see a show of hands? Who does not have a router in their house? Okay, everybody's got a router. Now, Chet's company just sold his 100 millionth router.
100
right?
million routers out of Linksys, yeah.
It's amazing.
It's a good round number.
Yeah, it's a good round number. How do you sell 100 million of anything in a 10-year reign?
Well, I think the key is always to stay focused on what consumers need and how we can make consumers' lives easier. Then you need to be able to deliver those goods and be willing to be humble and really listen and take the feedback back on the kind of tweaking that needs to be done to unlock those experiences. And then there's typically really huge shifts that present themselves as being possibilities. And the big thing in wireless routing today is a recognition that it is serving as the hub for everything that is connected in the home. And with smart Wi-Fi on the Linksys routers, we can help everyone see exactly what is on their network. They can get a notification that, hey, a device which has not been on your network before is trying to come on. Do you want to allow it? Do you want a notification of it? It could be a friendly, it might not. It allows us to get other kinds of notifications about the special moments that are valuable to us in our lives. When my daughter's iPhone connects to my smart Wi-Fi network at home and I get a notification that that's happened, it doesn't mean she's home from school, but there's a very good chance that she is indeed home from school. And likewise, if the Xbox fires up immediately afterwards, doesn't mean she's not doing her homework, but there's a pretty good chance she's might not be doing her homework.
Okay, let's tell people about your story, because we were talking about it yesterday, and I find it very interesting. You've been running this company for over 30 years, correct? Right?
That is right, yeah.
You're a self-made guy. You're a college dropout. Talk about, you only went to UCLA for 2 quarters.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a third quarter.
Third quarter.
Jefferson, I'll scrape out every day that I was there.
What was your ambition growing up? Well, actually, where did you grow up?
Yeah, so I grew up just a few hours from here by car in Southern California, little suburb Hawthorne, also the birthplace of the
Beach Boys.
Beach Boys, and some great innovation now with Space MX, and Great things out of Hawthorne.
So your ambition as a kid was to do what?
Yeah, so I really always wanted to do something in business. I was continually trying to invent something, innovate something, taking things apart and putting them back together. Had a lot of thoughts as a kid as to how we might be able to make that happen. And luckily, I was able to meet a lot of really smart and talented folks, and that's never stopped. And absolutely blessed to be able to work with a wide range of really smart people. And we can sit and talk about how best to bring things to life, and we have great teams making that happen.
Take us back to that third quarter at UCLA when you said, I've had enough of this. I want to do something else. And what was it that you wanted to do?
Yeah, it was a strange thing that happened. I was very early, and I was in some class with like a fifth-year senior, and he said something like, "Oh man, I can't believe that I'm almost have to leave school now, and that I got to go get a job." And I'm going, "Are you kidding me? I can't wait to get out of here. I'm chomping at the bit to take a cut at it." And he looked at me and he said, "You're absolutely nuts. You know, get everything you can out of this. Work will come soon enough." But it was just never ever the way that I felt about it. And there was a moment in time, just as I was sitting in the quad with him that said, "Why wait? I really want to go do this. Let's go see what it is that we can make happen."
With the senior?
No. I have no memory of
So
who that guy is.
what did you go do when you quit?
Well, I started thinking about what might be the next huge thing taking place, and this was very early '80s, so it looked like this PC thing might be really big. And to get my education, I literally went to hobby shops and computer shops where these things were being sold. Hanging out there, I got kicked out of a few, offered to be of a little bit of help, and just watched consumer behavior, and then we tried to translate what it is that we were seeing in to experiences that people would die to get their hands on.
So you started selling a printer peripheral.
Yeah, so one of the very early things we did, this is a couple of years in, but the first time that we took care of all of the coding and engineering from start to a finish was around the Apple IIc. And that was designed to be a very closed system, and only to be able to work with and support Apple printers. And so we developed a interface that first allowed any parallel printer to work with the Apple IIc, and later really appreciated the attention to detail that Apple did with the font and the Mac, and brought that to a life to any parallel printer that was out there in the marketplace at that time.
And of course, you're not an engineer, but you figured out how to do it.
Yeah, not a formal engineer by any definition, but really comfortable with tech, diving in, and have been lucky again to be surrounded by great engineering
going
talent.
full circle in our last 50 seconds, back when you were making this peripheral, could you imagine a world where you could open up a garage door with a phone?
I would say the answer to that is yes. We even penciled out things like driverless cars. It was different than the way that they're going to work now. Our vision was to embed metal strips down the center lanes of roads as that trekking mechanism. But
you saw it coming. We have 10 seconds. So you saw the future, and you're halfway there.
Saw a version of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for Chet Pipkin for Belkin.
Thanks, Jefferson.